Hi, this is Professor Lipuma of the New Jersey Institute of Technology, recording for my Technical Communications course with material drawn from my text, Fundamentals of Undergraduate Education and Learning. What we're going to talk about today is mood and style and how they relate to the creation of your package as you try to get your message across to your target. So the first question is, what is mood and style? We want to begin with the idea of mood because this tends to relate to fiction writing. And it's the idea that you're, as the author, creating a feel of the experience for your target. The way in which you describe things and use words and lay out your story, you give a feeling of that world, whether it's a dark, deep world or a happy world or fun. And it's this sense of the feeling. Now, for most of what we're going to be doing in this class, we're more concerned with the idea of style. And there's many elements that go into style, but generally style is this idea that the sender has a unique way of putting together the package and making the experience for the target that reflects the choices that are made as you do this. And many people adopt a style of someone else at first and then eventually, through years of writing, come into their own style. That's a general sense, but more specifically, there are elements of style that we can talk about which change how your target will interpret your package because of these choices you make. And that's what most of the rest of this presentation is about, the elements of style. Now, when you think about this, you want to understand that the decisions you make as you create your package are reflective of what you feel is best, or better or worse for the situation. And so these things will help us understand your style. And oftentimes, style is not something that is consciously recognized by your target unless it is meant to be as part of your package. So then, let's talk about what are some of the elements of style in its most basic sense, and what we've been talking about repeatedly over the last several presentations is the idea that words help make style. Your vocabulary, the way in which you put words together, how sophisticated they are, how complex the words are that you choose, is really reflective of your way of doing things, your unique style. Now, as we move forward, we're going to begin to get larger and larger areas to consider. So beyond words are, of course, sentences. Now, for sentences, the way in which you structure your sentences, their length, their complexity, how you order them within a paragraph, all becomes important in your style of writing. Next, we want to talk about this idea that the package as a whole, as you put it together with form and content, really changes your style. And oftentimes, you don't have the choice of style and form because they're given to you by your target. In other words, the target demands that you write a one-page resume with certain things, or they're provided via a template in which someone gives you a sample or example to follow. Beyond the level of package, for all of these things, there are different ways of making emphasis as you talk about things. And your means of making emphasis, font, formatting, professionalism, right? There's also other issues of style, repetition. And so these ideas of emphasis change the way in which the target experiences your work and comes back to your style. And lastly, there are other types of emphasis in terms of the arrangement of parts, the way in which the whole material is presented, the density of material and information you're giving. Some of you may feel I'm speaking too quickly. Others say that I'm speaking just right. That is my style of presenting. What we really want to consider here is that I'm not trying to tell you how to do something. I just want you to begin to recognize that what you do carries with it a sense of style. And so as you choose your words and structure your sentences and develop your package and add these methods of emphasis, all of them go in to begin to create a unique style for that particular package that represents you as the sender trying to get your message to the target most effectively. We want you to be consciously aware of these decisions so that we can then examine them with the things we mentioned in decision making. Now, the other thing that we really want to discuss is that written work and oral work are distinct in many ways because of the way that in a written work, it stands alone and your style comes through in the form and content that you've delivered. But in a oral presentation, you are part of that package. And so your personal style, your style of dress, your style of grooming, your style of presenting orally, your style of movement, all of these things are in addition to what's moving forward. So though they're similar, there are some distinctions that we want to talk about. For the beginning of this, we want to understand that written work really relies upon the form and content of the work. And the form, many times, will be given to you or you'll create it yourself. The more you go out on your own to create a unique form, the more people will see that as a personal style. The content, when we talk about this, and especially in a written work, the choices you make about what content to use, what content to create, and how to present it in terms of wording, structure, all those things we mentioned before, really sum up to make that package a unique style of your own. So then, why is that different than oral reporting? Because this really relies upon your personality and your ability to make a good presentation. And oftentimes, the first thing we see before we even hear any of the content is you and the style you bring there, the choices you make with attire, with what you present in terms of whether it's electronically presented with PowerPoint or you do a stage show or anything else. Your voice, the actual volume and the rate and the pace at which you speak, all of these things go into the target's interpretation of your style. And so as you think about these things, what you want to realize is that you as the sender adapt and adopt your tone such that you are able to create your own style. These choices you make are done. Now, on the other side, the target is in charge of judging and interpreting what you have said. Now, at the end here, I just mentioned the idea of tone. One major element when speaking and writing is this idea of adapting and adopting a tone by the sender as you create the package. And that will be in our next presentation. So, thank you, and proceed to tone.